conditioner. Would a $1,200 instant discount on a new day and night home comfort system help?
Don't put it off. Have a new day and night furnace and air conditioner installed and get an up to $1,200 instant discount with a 12-year day and night no-hassle warranty on qualifying systems. You'll be warm all winter and save on your energy bills. Click online to dayandnightcomfort.com for a nearby elite day and night home comfort expert. The difference is day and night.
Martin's Collision Repair.
50,000 cars repaired and counting. Just check Martin's 5-star online reviews.
Lee posted, Martin's Collision did an excellent job. The car looked perfect when the work was completed. I will always work with Martin's.
Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Check Martin's Facebook page or martinscollision.com for your 5-star Martin's experience. On State Street in Norham and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martin's Collision Repair.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. What keeps people in a company when they could make more money elsewhere? What keeps athletes on a team when high-profile opportunities tempt? What brings volunteers into a fire department, emergency room, search and rescue team to give their time and work without pay? It's the social bond we create when we work with others. The caring work families that we sometimes not always create. They are worth more than money, more than promotions, more than individual recognition. If you have a work environment where people genuinely care about you, where you are emotionally healthy, don't sell it for more stress and sometimes more money. Hold on to it for as long as you can. Learn more about creating a positive work environment with an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the weather is wreaking havoc in the canyons throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Summit counties. If you're in Salt Lake County, chains or four-wheel drive required for anyone going in or out of Big and Little Cottonwood canyons. US 6, which is Spanish Fork Canyon, that is shut down, both eastbound and westbound, for 10 miles between Thistle Junction and Diamond Fork Road. That's due to a fatal crash on snowy roads. And then you've got an accident westbound I-80 coming out of Park City heading toward Jeremy Ranch. That's blocking the right lane and shoulder. Visit the new R5 Homes Affordable Flex ADU single-family house, which helps offset your mortgage with an independent but connectable rentable basement. Contact R5 Homes for your $1,000 gift toward purchase or referral. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, look for the rain to taper off and the sun to come out this afternoon, but it's going to stay cold. Today's high only about 50 degrees, and tomorrow we'll only get up to about 54. And right now, 40 degrees and cloudy at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
So, United Auto Workers, they're striking. They've been striking. I can't even remember how long it's been. I've lost track of how long they have stopped making new cars.
Because you haven't bought a new car recently, maybe?
I bought a Noriega new, which is always 6 years old. So, yeah, Noriega new.
So this hasn't affected you at all.
Has not affected me at all. But this might surprise you, Leah. Oh, by the way, Leah Murray filling in for Debbie Dujanovic. KSL at night is where she usually shows up. But I love it when you come on the David Dujanovic show. You're the best. That being said, okay, it might surprise you. Here in Utah, we sell about 120,000 new cars every single year. And the average cost of a car is somewhere between $48,000.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoo!
And I am a new car shopper, so I will just say.
Are you looking?
Kind of. But what's interesting, I don't think this strike affects me at all. But for like a minute, I was thinking I wanted a hybrid. But the process, like you had to get your name on a list and you had to put it was a whole thing. And I'm like, that's too much work. So I will come back around to it at some point when things open up just a bit.
Okay, it seems like there's a little movement, that there may be some warming relations. Mike Dubusky joins us right now, ABC News technology reporter. And Mike, is there a little movement that we're seeing?
Yeah, that's right, Dave. So 41 days is how long this strike has been going on, and it seems as if the United Auto Workers and Ford have struck a deal. The UAW has called off their striking workers at Ford, saying that they have achieved this deal, that the company and the union have agreed on 25% pay raises over the next 4 years. That includes an 11% immediate pay hike if this deal is agreed upon. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to be ironed out here, guys. This needs to be ratified by the UAW Council, and then, of course, it goes to a vote among the 57,000 UAW workers who work at Ford. But even still, this is a pretty significant moment in this very historic strike. This is the first time that the UAW has organized a strike against all of the big three major American automakers at once. But now it seems like they have reached an agreement with at least one of those automakers.
So can you talk to us about why that is? So what is it about Ford that they are moving and we're not seeing the other two moving at the same time? Like, is there some reason there's some daylight between the big companies?
Right. So there's some context here that I think can maybe illuminate that. The UAW started by demanding wage increases, over 40% wage increases, right? This huge number that many balked at, including the automakers. But from the UAW's perspective, you listen to Sean Fain, the UAW president, argue this. They say that is in line with the pay increases that the executives at these companies have seen in the years since the Great Recession, that this is sort of correcting the record for the workers in their union. Well, they have softened that position from 40% wage increases to last month 36% wage increases were their demand. Earlier this week, they dropped that down to 25% wage increases. Another thing that happened earlier this month was that on October 11th, the UAW ordered a strike at Ford's Kentucky truck factory. And if you know anything about trucks, that means that's the Ford F-Series, right? That's a very popular pickup truck for Ford. In fact, that factory accounts for 1/6 of Ford's global automotive revenue. So it's a hugely valuable factory for them. Workers walked off the job at that facility, clearly putting some pressure on Ford to make a decision here. Other automakers are close, right? General Motors and Stellantis are both offering 23% wage increases to the UAW. That's not that far off from 25%. But of course, when you widen that out to the broader car market, that could be potentially billions of dollars. So, still some daylight left there. But again, crucial context here, guys. General Motors has a factory in Arlington, Texas that makes the Chevy Suburban and the Cadillac Escalade. Stellantis has a Ram Trucks facility in Warren, Michigan that makes the Ram 1500. Those two facilities also were recently ordered by the UAW to strike. So pressure on all three of the big three American automakers, but Ford, it seems like, has finally reached a deal here with the UAW.
Mike, is there a sense, or do we have any idea how much this strike has set back new cars in America?
Well, as you mentioned in your intro there, new cars are really expensive, right? The estimate is anywhere between $48,000 and $50,000. And you can see exactly why a strike would be concerning here in this sense, right? The idea that people aren't working at these facilities, then you're not making new cars. Those new cars don't get to dealerships. That puts pressure on inventory and drives up new car prices. But let's remember, this is a stand-up strike. This is kind of different from what we're normally used to when we talk about large-scale strikes like this. It's not like everybody walked off the job at the same time. The UAW started by asking some of its workers at less important facilities, still, profitable and important factories for these companies, but not quite as important as like the Ford F-Series, to walk off the job pretty early on in this strike. And then over the next couple of weeks, they ordered different facilities to walk off the job. So from the UAW's perspective, that allowed them to negotiate for longer. It extended the life of their strike fund. And it also did not impact the supply of new cars immediately, right? Even a couple days off of production would impact new car sales. But again, this wasn't like everybody walked off the job at the same time, and we've been, more than a month now with no new cars. New cars have been being produced, but, again, it was just sort of a strategic move from the UAW here.
Yeah, just not at the same pace as previously. Mike Dubusky, thank you for joining us, ABC News technology reporter. And here in Utah, I think that we have seen, and the federal government has seen this, the economy is down. We're not spending like we were. Everyone's a little bit nervous as inflation has just, hit us hard. But it is also hard for me to keep track of how many strikes are going on.
Right.
I mean, we had the Hollywood writers strike, and the actors are still striking. The cars, the United Auto Workers, the railroads, they just got their thing done, not too long ago. There's so many strikes right now. It's kind of hard for me to keep track of everything.
Right, but don't you think that's reflective of the fact that all of us are a little angsty?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
It's been a hard. I have fatigue. Like I just would like everything to just be normal, right? Or like not have really bad news coming into my feed, right? So I wonder if a little bit we just see that out in the labor market. And I like how you said the economy's down, but our most recent quarters, the numbers are up. So I do feel like it probably feels like if I'm a worker, can't afford bananas, but it feels like the CEOs making all sorts of bank. So maybe it feels like we're not all down at the same rate or something, right? And so that kind of angst can lead to strikes as well.
I think what concerns me most, and especially in the production world of labor unions, how is this going to affect me? Because if you give a 25% raise to all of your workers over the next couple of years, an immediate 11% raise, these big companies aren't great at saying, you know what? I'll just eat those, those profits. We'll just get rid of them. We'll put them back to the people. They pass them on to us. They pass them on to us time and time again. So even though this is individually good for the auto workers, I am concerned that this already outrageously priced $48,000 new car is going to get even worse.
Yeah, even more expensive. No, I hear you. I just think I've never gotten a 25% raise. Have you? Ever?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, right.
You know what? I'd take 23. That's what GM and Stellantis, that's what they're offering. They're like, will you take 23? They're like, no, we want 40.
I know they went for 40.
Hey, you know what? I respect it.
I do
Take
too.
a swing, bud. Take a swing. I appreciate it. But like at some point we got to, settle for something a little bit more in the this earth. Because I don't know what Mars you're living on, 40%, but my goodness, 25% still feels like you're 30,000 feet, with a pair of homemade wings. Anyway, congratulations, Ford. It seems like you may have fixed the auto worker strike, at least for Ford. GM, Stellantis, that's Chrysler. They're still trying to figure things out.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
I know it's Thursday, but give me 60 seconds and I'll explain how spending $29 guarantees your furnace won't break down this winter, or we'll give you your money back. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and when you have Any Hour do the annual maintenance on your furnace, it comes with our no breakdown guarantee, 801-443-7400. Normally, we charge $124 to tune up your furnace, but not today. If you call today, Thursday, October 26th, and mention you heard this ad, you'll lock in a $95 savings and get your furnace tuned up for only $29. 801-443-7400. If your furnace breaks down anytime this winter after we tune it up, we'll dispatch a technician to your home to diagnose and troubleshoot your system for free. And we'll give you back the $29 you paid for the tune-up. Where else are you going to find an offer with this little risk? You literally get your money back if your furnace breaks down. Call Any Hour Services today and schedule your $29 furnace tune-up. 801-443-7400. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. With kids back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Make Exergen thermometer the chosen thermometer for your home or business to check for fever, where accuracy matters. When measuring temperature at home and at work, use an Exergen thermometer to keep your family and your colleagues safe. Available at Walgreens and other participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Tay-Tay was a typical girl that loved pink, singing, and all kinds of animals. At 3 years old, she tumbled off a horse and received a traumatic brain injury. Her family prayed for a miracle, and when they realized their daughter would not survive, they made the decision to donate her organs. Because of her donation, 4 other people received her organs and tissue, allowing others to live. Go to donorconnect.life and read about what it takes to become a donor. Did you know many people think that they're too old and not in good enough health to be a donor? Anyone can be a donor. If you were told that it could save a life for someone close to you, or even a stranger, would you please donate? Finding out more on why you should become a donor is pretty easy. DonorConnect.life can walk you through the process and what it takes to simply sign up. Check yes to become a donor when you renew your driver's license. Give hope, heal life. DonorConnect.life.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Tim and Amanda.
We get text messages almost every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're letting us know about an accident they see on the freeway or the weather, and we appreciate those. But sometimes they just say, hey, TGIF, how you doing?
Well, and there are those times we get a text where we've made a mistake and they'll correct us.
And I love that too.
Well, I do too. It means a lot to us to know somebody else is out there at 5 o'clock in the morning when we open up those microphones.
Wake up with Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a manhunt continues for the suspect in the shootings at a bowling alley as well as a bar and grill in Lewiston, Maine. 13 people were killed, many more injured. Second, the weather's taken a turn toward winter as the snow levels dropped overnight. And third, a temporary shelter expected to open in Salt Lake City run into some snags. No operator for the camp has been selected by the deadline. Right now, 40 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I have the most visceral reaction whenever I see these videos of the smash and grab store robberies that are happening.
You do? What is your visceral reaction?
My face turns red.
Really?
I get so, and maybe in part because I have kids that work in retail.
Oh, that's totally what it is.
And
Gotta
I
be,
think
right?
if that happened, if all of a sudden a big group, and that's kind of the hot new thing right now, this gang, kind of maybe even an unofficial gang, will crash in, smash and grab, empty a store, and run out. And my eyes always go to those poor workers that are like, well, what do I do?
Right.
What do I just let this happen?
Right. Am I supposed to be a hero?
Yeah. And
Right.
so many businesses tell the retail workers, they're like, do not do anything. I don't want to put your life at risk, which I appreciate. But at the same time, it is so wrong. We're watching it happen. It doesn't get investigated. People don't get prosecuted, so it just keeps happening. And I'm just sick about it. And I'm grateful to find out that today, I didn't even know this was a thing because it seems like every day has this weird, like,
It's a
hey,
day.
it's chocolate ice cream day. National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. But today is the National Fight Retail Crime Day. And this is to say it's a massive problem is so much worse than that. The U.S. economy estimates that somewhere between, and this is hilarious, if you want to talk about like, it could be this or it could be that. It could be somewhere between $250 and $600 billion annual.
And is this your point? The fact that we don't investigate it is why we don't actually know what that number is? Is that like maybe what it is?
You know what? That you just made a perfect point there. Like when your estimate is between $350 billion, like give or take $350 billion. Like we just don't track it. We don't know it like we should. But on the phone right now is Dave Studdert. He's the founding partner of Utah-based LiveView Technologies. He's a host of the podcast Retail's Most Wanted. I love this, which can be found at retailsmostwanted.com. He has been fighting retail crime for over a decade. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Dave, thanks for having me. Leah, nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm just going to ask you, so I feel terribly. One, I didn't even know you had a podcast. Two, I didn't know people talked about this. So can you help me and our listeners understand how big a problem is organized retail crime, so much so that it needs like a national day to recognize it?
Leah, it's a big problem, right? I love that Dave mentioned that his kids work in retail. It affects them, but it affects everybody. It's become a bit of a plague here in the United States. If you look at the numbers alone and what we lose to shrink to organized retail crime, they're massive. But how does that affect our communities, right? We're seeing big retailers shut their stores down, and that affects everybody. We're seeing violent crime increase because of organized retail crime and the way they're perpetrating their crimes. So it is a massive problem, and I love that we have a day to address it, and I love that you guys are doing it because it affects all of us.
There is a difference, though, between the traditional shoplifting that happens and organized retail crime. Can you explain to us why or what that is?
Yeah, so shoplifting really is it's a crime of opportunity and personal consumption. Let's say I walk into the local convenience store and I'm hungry and I steal a candy bar. That is traditional shoplifting, right? It's been a problem since the beginning of time. Organized retail crime, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. It's truly organized. They have a full booster fence ecosystem. What I mean by that is there's boosters. So they'll go out and they'll find people to actually steal products, and this can be gangs, it can be drug dealers, it can be all the way to cartels that are putting these things together. And the intent of this is not personal consumption, it's to resell them, right? So they've got boosters, they've got fences, which take those stolen goods and then repurpose them to be sold as clean, right? And the reason this has really got such a big uptake is, A, these criminal elements, these organizations have figured out how lucrative this can be, right? And in a lot of places, we've legislated ourselves into this space where it's not that bad, right? Nothing's gonna happen. The risk reward is really good right now for this type of operation.
So why? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, Leah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just right there in what you just said, why are we not why is the risk reward system set up in such a way that this becomes a plague that people want to do this?
That is a great question, and we've asked that question time and time again. We work with a lot of state attorney generals. Luckily, in the state of Utah, our attorney general has really been out in front of this. We're not a state that has legislated. A lot of places you'll go, there's a benchmark, right? A $950 and less is a misdemeanor, and therefore law enforcement probably won't get involved, and prosecutors will probably let it go. So it's kind of a carte blanche, open the door, and let stuff go out the front door. In Utah, we've been really lucky that our legislators have been wise. Theft is theft, right is right, and wrong is wrong. And so we've been really lucky here. But in a lot of places, for some reason, we've just lost our collective marbles and decided that we're gonna play in the gray space, and now we're paying that price.
When I look at the you talk about the prosecution or the investigation of it, I talked to the Davis County attorney, Troy Rawlings, about this, and he said, to be quite honest, we need the companies, we need the stores to step up
and to care.
Yeah. Because right now they're just writing everything off. What role does the store itself play?
Well, having worked with nearly 90% of the Fortune 50 retailers in the country, I can tell you they do care. They care a great deal. And I'll tell you two reasons why they care. And I love these, right? Because the first one is about your kids, Dave. They're worried, they're concerned about the safety of their employees and their associates and their shoppers. It's always number one is life safety. And usually violent crime follows ORC. If you look at over the last year, about 88% of the retailers have reported an increase in aggressive and violent behavior associated with this uptick in the criminal activity. So their number one concern is the safety of you and me and my mom and my kids. And so they're putting a ton of effort and resource toward how do we stop this? How do we mitigate the issues that come from ORC? The second is the money, right? They're losing so much money.
Yeah.
Last year, just domestically, or in 2022, just domestically, it was about $112 billion specifically to ORC in shrink. And so it's costing them a great deal, but it costs you. Cost of goods is going up. Most people don't think it. Like if I live in St. Pete and I don't shop at a Walmart, and right, it doesn't affect me, but it does because businesses, they're not paying the tax. Think about the taxes, the loss in tax revenue. So it's affecting your roads, your communities, your jobs, your kids. It affects all of us.
Dave Studdert, thank you for joining us. Has a podcast, Retail's Most Wanted, has these discussions about organized retail crime, that difference between shoplifting, traditional shoplifting, and organized retail crime, the kind of stuff that we saw at Farmington Station recently where they busted into the Apple store, ripped, all this stuff off, expensive iPhones and laptops, and they were out of the door in a heartbeat. That is becoming more and more common across the country. We've seen it in big cities, and again, we've seen it in the small cities, even here in Utah. When we come back, let's revisit and check in on what is happening in Maine as they continue to search for the shooter that killed 18 people.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Authorities in Maine saying that 18 people were killed in Wednesday night's shooting in Lewiston. The suspect is still at large, considered armed and dangerous. Here's Colonel William Ross with the Maine State Police on where the victims were located.
The victims at the just-in-time establishment, 7 people are deceased there, 1 female and 6 males, all from an apparent gunshot wound. Victims at the Schmegley's Billiards, 8 are deceased. 7 males inside the establishment, 1 male outside of the establishment.
And again, authorities still looking for the gunman in that case. 1 year after a devastating fire in Sugar House, nearby business owners are asking for people to stop by and support them. Kimmy Eklund, the owner of Kimmy's Chop and Oyster House, tells KSL TV it wasn't just the fire that hurt her business. It was also unrelated construction projects.
Especially when they did the intersections at Highland Drive and 21st and 13th East and 21st South. So that really dropped business like 55%.
Eklund says she plans to move to Holiday after everything that's happened. The fire destroyed a major apartment complex under construction and caused $59 million worth of damage. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now 250 points on the day. The NASDAQ is down 269. And our KSL weather, the rain's about over. We'll see some sunshine this afternoon. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
They say you slow down as you get older, and it's true. But taking life a little slower here at Summit Vista has been incredibly rewarding. At my age, I know what I like, and it's all here. They call this a life plan community, and I'm liking the concept. I've always been a practical person, and now it's time to treat myself. At Summit Vista, I have a beautiful apartment. It's spacious and contemporary. It feels like me. I have all the independence I want, no more maintenance headaches, no more days spent cleaning. I eat delicious meals with my friends. The staff here feels like family. The socializing and amenities are endless. Frankly, anyone who says luxury living is overrated hasn't been to Summit Vista. I've rebooted my life, and I'm revisiting my younger self with the wisdom of an older woman. And I gotta tell you, feels pretty cool.
Experience retirement living at the top. Visit summitvista.com today.
They are Intermountain Battery, Utah's premier battery dealer, and they've been building their reputation since 1971 on the principles of prompt service, high-quality products, and unbeatable prices. They believe in empowering customers with the knowledge needed to make the best choices for their battery needs. They place a high value on your experience with them because every customer is part of their family. Call them at 801-266-7465 for all of your auto, RV, and ATV battery needs. 801-266-7465.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Winter is coming. With snow already in the mountains, full-blown winter will be here before you know it. Hi, this is Josh with IWC Roofing. We're the highest-rated roofing contractor in Utah. Now is the time to protect your home by preparing for the upcoming season. Get ready for the winter and protect your home by calling our experts for a free in-home inspection. You need to take advantage of our extended Labor Day special and save $1,200 on a full roof replacement. Call 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com today to schedule your free consultation and save up to $1,200 on your complete roofing project. IWC Roofing offers the best warranty in the business, backed by Owens Corning, and our warranty doesn't prorate down like other roofing companies. Again, call 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com to save that $1,200 on a new roof install. At IWC Roofing, we can install most new roofs in just one day. Call 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
A new accident eastbound I-80 at 1300 East. Emergency crews have arrived. It's at the top of the on-ramp merging onto the main flow. You want to use a lot of caution there. Not seeing any traffic coming from the on-ramp to eastbound I-80. We still have restrictions in place for both Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon. And then a couple of different crashes on Highway 6 in Spanish Fork Canyon. We do have a closure in both directions. One of the crashes happened about a mile east of Diamond Fork, but right now a closure both directions for approximately a 10-mile stretch. It's going to be prior to and just after the Highway 89 junction in Thistle. Join the Utah Symphony for the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, the rain will stop, the sun will come out this afternoon, but it stays cool with a high of only 50 degrees. Tomorrow, 54 and partly cloudy, and a chance of rain again on Saturday. Right now, we're at 39 degrees, mostly cloudy skies at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas at 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Last night at about 7 p.m. in Maine, we learned about this mass shooting where a suspect, Robert Card, an Army reservist stationed out of Saco, where is that, in Maryland or Maine, went into a bowling alley, went into a bar or a restaurant, and killed 18 people. And I couldn't help, when I hear the bowling alley, it's so easy for myself to put my family, my friends, everyone in there. We've done this. This is date night, right? We
Right.
go there. It's very easy to think, Oh, I know exactly what those families were going through in the sense that they were just having fun, going
right.
about.
Just killing like 2 hours, right? Because a bowling
Yeah.
is a lovely, probably had pizza, right? Just
Yeah.
being there, enjoying their family time together.
And then as we saw the pictures of this man enter the bowling alley, that's what stood out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. There was the bowling balls, right? I mean, just as he's walking in, and it's, I don't know, the juxtaposition's somewhat horrifying, Dave, because he's carrying this awful weapon, right? But he could have been any other human just walking into the bowling alley. So I have to think, looking up and seeing that, right? You would have not expected it, not known what to do, right? Like
Where do you go?
Where do you go?
It's wide open.
It's wide open because it's a bowling alley.
Yeah.
How do you protect yourself? Like, I've talked about this with you off the air. We do active shooter training on campus, right? Because campuses are a place where, bad things happen. And so we get training for it. But you're never like thinking that at bowling. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, right, you're there with your family. You're not thinking of any of the things you might have. The expectation is just not that this is ever going to happen.
We just heard from Vice President Kamala Harris, who was speaking about this.
Doug and I mourn for those who were killed. We pray for those who were injured and grieve with so many whose lives are forever changed and impacted by what happened. The Biden-Harris administration will continue to provide full support to local authorities. And as we gather details, we must continue to speak truth about the moment we are in. In our country today, the leading cause of death of American children is gun violence.
When we have these conversations, and it's very interesting, as you said, we just went through training because for those of you that are just joining us, Debbie Dujanovic is out, and Leah Murray is a professor at Weber State University, has gone through these active shooter trainings on campus. My kids go through this every year in elementary, junior high, high school. Everybody goes through these trainings. And we've had a lot of conversations about what are we doing to secure our schools and protect our schools, and it's increased more officers actually on campus, perhaps metal detectors or dogs.
And the doors are all locked. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
where you go to pick up your kids, you can only, right, all the doors will say these doors are locked from this time to this time. Very different from when I grew up, where you could just wander into your school at any point of entry, right? But yeah, and just a little bit, now I wonder, I don't know, like, do you wander into a bowling alley real easily after this? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because if it's not a bowling alley, then or a bar or a restaurant, if you're going to harden, quote unquote, harden some place, because they talk there's this terminology, this kind of odd soft targets and hard targets. There's areas that are more secure. If you go to a jazz game, there are metal detectors. You have to go through security. They will wand you and even pat you down. That is a harder area. But again, where do you draw the line? Where does the funding go? We fund our schools, but not our bowling alleys, not our movie theaters. The threat out there is so pervasive. It's ubiquitous. It could be anywhere at any time. Of course, we've seen that. I don't know what the answer is, and I think that's in part what we're struggling with in this country. Is I don't know what is just passing more gun laws. Is that really going to change things?
Well, I think, and I say this, at risk of really annoying some people, but the answer is we have to be able to talk about it. So the problem is gun violence is a major issue.
Yeah.
And we are so, you use the word hardened, but we're so hardened into what our position is. So if I'm a Democrat, my response to something like this looks like this. Here's the playbook that I've been saying for 20 years. And if I'm a Republican, here's my playbook, and I respond this way. And there's no way you're going to have a conversation about it, right, Dave? So if we're going to solve this wicked problem, first thing we got to do is throw the playbook out a little bit and allow some grace in the conversation and let people talk about, right, what we need to do rather than automatically assuming the other side is wrong.
Now, the search for this individual, the manhunt is still ongoing. The commissioner of public safety in Maine said the focus, they have found the vehicle of this suspect, though they have still not found him personally.
Our reality for today is that this suspect is still at large, and we want to provide community support for the victims, for the families, in the communities across the state. But we also have an incredibly strong, laser-like focus on bringing this suspect into custody and ultimately to justice.
Earlier today on Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda, Brad Garrett, who joins us from ABC News, he's the crime and terrorism analyst, and he's in Washington, spoke to the shooter.
So I see somebody that is an officer in the military, the National Guard or the Army, I think. I was a firearms instructor. It's clear to me he knows exactly what he's doing and has probably fired what looks like some version of an AR-15 in the photos that were released. That translates for me into being very proficient as he shoots. And unfortunately, as both of you know, in a couple minutes, you could literally shoot dozens of people with that weapon if they're available. And in a bowling alley and a restaurant are, it's just wide open as to what you could do potentially in those two locations. So you start with that. These comments about his mental health, hearing voices, maybe hospitalized at some point this last summer, tell me that this is a guy that's really troubled. And, were these shootings driven by delusions, hallucinations, etc.? My guess is some version of that's going to be true. That doesn't negate from what he has done or how you're going to catch him, but it's something clear to keep in mind if you're the person walking through the woods looking for him.
And Leah, when I listened to Brad describe this suspect, former military, mentally challenged in some way, in the sense that perhaps there is some sort of, I don't know, is it a PTSD thing? We don't know, but are we having the conversations? Because far too often we have heard shootings, whether it's on a military base or out in the community, it's somebody that has served. What led up to that?
Yeah, right.
And that's an element that is incredibly difficult because we respect and love our servicemen and women that keep us protected. But what happens if that ends up being or is a common theme?
Right. And then the answer is, right, like how do we, I was going to say serve the servicemen, right? But like how do you make sure that those people, when they come back, are getting everything they need? And you talked earlier, it's about finite resources, right, Dave? Yeah. So I'm going to put, metal detectors everywhere. I'm going to somehow pay for that. I've got to pay for the public police officers. And what I heard in that thing was they're walking through the Maine woods right now looking for this person. That's terrifying.
You've been through the Maine woods.
I have been in the Maine woods. I can't explain to people out here all that. You just can't. It is so thick that you literally can't see, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to see you if we were standing in some
5
parts
feet
of the woods.
away.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dense. It's really, really dense. So they're walking through these woods. He's armed and dangerous and having probably a mental health crisis. So I've got to fund all of these people who are doing that work today in Maine. And then I've got to also fund and make sure our veterans have the care they need. We got a lot to talk about.
When we come back, let's go back to this conversation about the Speaker of the House and what is going to happen now that Mike Johnson has been selected as the next Speaker of the House. Is anything going to change in Washington? Is it still going to be as dysfunctional as it has been? And is there anything fundamentally that can change? Have we learned anything through this process where a speaker gets kicked out and they can't figure out who they want? Is there something we can learn from this? We'll talk about that next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-news station in the morning?
It's this one. Weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We are Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
It's football season, NBA basketball season, and the season of important and sensitive stories. Elections at home, war abroad. So depend on Tim and Amanda for the latest breaking news from 5 to 9. Get analysis and discussion with Dave and Dujanovic and Boyd Matheson and updated news and traffic as you drive home with Jeff Kaplan. In this season, rely on KSL for certainty. We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Whether you're ready for the cold or not, it's coming. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you haven't gotten your furnace tuned up yet, I'm about to save you some money. Normally, we charge $124 to tune up your furnace, but if you call today, Thursday, October 26th, and mention you heard this ad, we'll give you $95 off and tune up your furnace for only $29. Call Any Hour Services right now to schedule, 801-443-7400. Manufacturers recommend annual maintenance to ensure safe operation, maximize efficiency, and help your furnace last for as many years as possible. 801-443-7400. If it's more convenient, go to anyhourservices.com and look for the red button that says Book Online. Schedule your $29 tune-up there. To lock in your $95 savings, all you need to do is get a hold of Any Hour Services today. That's a $124 value for only $29 if you call Any Hour Services today. 801-443-7400. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
When you crash your car, you get it fixed. When your computer crashes, you get a new one. But what will you do if you've been saving in a 401k or an IRA and the market crashes? If you're in your 30s or 40s, you'll be just fine. But if you're in or near retirement, you could be in trouble. Mike Stevens and his team at Capital Wealth Advisors are here to help. They can run a risk analysis to see if you're too heavily invested in the market. Don't let the ups and downs of Wall Street control you or your retirement dreams. Call 801-210-5500 today to schedule your risk analysis with Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors. That's 801-210-5500. Crashes happen. Question is, are you ready? Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and everybody's heard of Firestone, Bridgestone, and Goodyear tires. But have you heard about the sale at Burt Brothers right now with up to $200 off a set of 4 tires? Even the winter-loving Bridgestone Blizzak tires up to $130 off right now until December 16th. So don't miss these huge savings. And if you're in the market for tires, perfect time to buy. And remember, the Burt Bundle is everything. This makes all the difference. All kinds of things for free, like rotations, balancing, rebalancing, alignment checks, flat repairs, and it goes on and on. The people at Burt Brothers, they can take care of the entire vehicle. They do more than just tires. We're talking brakes, batteries, oil changes, heat and AC, shocks, struts, basically anything that your automobile needs. There's a great Burt Brothers location near you. You're going to love the difference, the great care you get at Burt Brothers.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, oh, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the manhunt continues for the suspect in last night's mass shootings in Maine. Second, businesses in Sugar House are still struggling and asking customers to come and support them a year after a major fire destroyed an apartment building nearby. And third, the Utah Jazz lost their season opener to the Sacramento Kings last night. Right now, 39 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
So when I look at the news, for the last 3 weeks, it's a daily thing. Hey, what's happening with the speaker's race? Have the Republicans figured out who they want to run the House? we've gone through this roller coaster of emotions, and I think there was a certain level of this, and I want to know if you feel the same way, Leah. By the way, Leah Murray filling in for Debbie Dujanovic. Did you feel that Mike Johnson, who was elected as Speaker, was this the right person, or was this the person, the exhaustion vote, where people were just like, whatever, just throw a name and we'll take him?
Yeah, I actually think it's that, but I want to be really clear to say I wasn't in the room when it happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So you want to be like, I'm totally speculating. Only because I have no idea who he is. So you feel like most of the names, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, I knew who Steve Scalise was. Right. I knew who Jim Jordan was. We all knew who, like all these names. Tom Emmer, I didn't really know, but Majority Whip, like at least he's in the leadership. So what I expect is that at some point Republicans picked him. Do you know what I mean? Like, and other names were in leadership spots. So Mike Johnson, I wonder a little bit if it's like, A, I'm exhausted, and B, remember we talked earlier, it's about a marriage. So a little bit, he's new. He just got there a few years ago. He hasn't forgotten to put, like, he's never burned microwave popcorn in the cafeteria microwave, right? So maybe the answer is because he doesn't have a lot of baggage, right? Like, maybe he's exactly the right person that none of us knew for exactly this moment. And that's me being kind to him. And I want you to be clear that most of his political positions I would disagree with. Does that make sense? I want, like, I'm not in any way supportive of much of the stuff he says, but I wonder if it's, hey, I'm exhausted, but also this person hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yet or something, right?
Well, that's a really interesting perspective because he was first elected in 2017. He's only been there for 6 years. He's been through just a few different reelection cycles. So you stay there long enough in the House, you're going to create enemies. And there are a few places in Congress that is more divisive or where you make more enemies than Speaker of the House.
Right.
Because you are forced at some point to govern, where you have to work with the other side. And all of the rhetoric and all of the frustration, at the end of the day, you have to negotiate and you have to figure out a budget. You have to figure out certain things just so the government can continue to move forward, and that's going to alienate somebody.
Right. And on every single issue.
Every issue.
Right. And to be clear, like, they work on 6,000 to 10,000 issues every 2 years, right? So this is not, I was being flip earlier with, like, my analogy to marriage, but they actually have thousands of things they're talking about. And so what he's doing is trading favors, right? Which maybe sounds, you always hear this phrase, like, it's the swamp. And I'm kind of like, maybe, but it's favors, right? Like, you're like, I'll give you this vote if you give me this vote later, and this is how we build, a political relationship. And every once in a while, he's going to renege, right? Like, people, because the domino effect. Does that make sense? If I said yes to you, that meant I had to say no to you, which meant I really annoyed you here, and then I find myself in this bind, right? All of that. And so you're governing, you're working with people who disagree with you and think you're wrong right out of the gate, and you're trying to lead. All of that is just, I don't know why anyone wants that job.
No. John Curtis said it best. Friends don't let friends run for Speaker of the House. It's a terrible job. But I wonder, is there anything that we've learned? Is there anything that can change over the last 3 weeks as we saw the House get set on fire, the chaos that ensued, the work that was not getting done? Is there anything, let's think maybe glass half full, of what you think, what, this might have done this?
Right. So here's what I'm going to tell you. My dissertation, my defense was about how rules matter in Congress. So the glass really full for me was I was right. Right. Yeah. So when I defended that many years ago, I talked about, like, any little rule could really matter. So for me, bringing it right up here and to this present moment, they allowed one person to force a vote of no confidence. I think they're still going to allow it. I think what we learned is maybe these rules should be more moderate, meaning we don't expect the humans to be moderate. So when we write the rules of the game, we should do that in such a way that it helps temper passion, maybe.
How do you pass the rules?
Yeah, they as a body, a majority of them have to pass it.
So just a straight majority of it.
which means usually whatever majority party is in, they have a set of rules. So like the first thing they're going to do when they get in is they establish the rules for the chamber for the 2 years that they're going to be running it.
So I haven't heard anything like Mike Johnson didn't say we have to change the rules or adapt them. I haven't heard any of that. Do you think that is coming?
I don't know that it's coming. I know that 45 Republicans signed a letter during the middle of this whole thing saying maybe we should say, like 100 of us can vote no confidence and it can't be one person. So I know that people are talking about it. I don't know that Mike Johnson gets that done in the middle of him filling out an end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if Republicans win next year, I don't know, because they might say, hey, no harm, no foul, nothing happened to us. If they lose, Democrats absolutely will not have a rule that allows one person to bounce the speaker. And then I think the next time Republicans take over, they probably don't reintroduce it.
Now, to say this is strictly a Republican problem, I don't think is true, because I remember when Nancy Pelosi was trying to become speaker the second time, you had the more progressive wing, some refer to them as the squad, that the more progressive wing was saying, we don't want Nancy Pelosi as our speaker. We want new voices. You've already done this. We need to have a seat at the table. And Nancy Pelosi basically said, okay, yeah, that'll be fine in a couple of years. It's too important right now to combat Trump. You need somebody that knows how Washington works. And they essentially gave up the fight and they gave in, but not everybody, the Democrats have the same issues as the Republicans do. Maybe they just get in line a little easier than the Republicans.
A little bit. I mean, it's kind of interesting. The thing, I think the rub right here is Democrats in Congress are much more seniority based. So part of the reason why they had all octogenarians last time is like whoever is the speaker or whoever is the majority whip gets to be the next leader, and whoever is the leader gets to be the speaker. So they're very in line. So they do kind of hierarchically understand things. I don't know if that makes sense. So you could be a progressive voice, but if you've only been there 2 minutes, doesn't matter. You have to have served your time. Republicans are much more in line, I think, with loyalty to message. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it like the ideology matters more. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you are going to be their speaker, you need to be a real conservative. And then there's a lot of conversations about what a real conservative is. So it's easier for Democrats to march in lockstep, because if your command structure is who's been here the longest gets to be in charge, is a lot easier to figure out than to say who's the best conservative. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
so a little bit Republicans, I think,
are fascinating.
Right, are vulnerable, not in a bad way. I don't mean it in any way as a criticism, but they're a little bit vulnerable when there is some kind of fight about what is a Republican. Right? So what you had Donald Trump saying about Tom Emmer was he was a Republican in name only, a rhino. If your party's having that conversation, oh my gosh, every leadership fight's a fight, you know?
That's great insight. I hadn't realized that is because every party has its own little quirks of how it works and the pros and the cons. And I didn't realize, but that you explained it beautifully. Thank you. When we come back, KSL investigates. We love to bring in the KSL investigative team. They found a shocking number, get this, of sex offenders that were missing from the state registry. We speak with them for more information straight ahead.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Authorities in Maine say 18 people were killed in Wednesday night's shooting in Lewiston, Maine. And the suspect is still at large, considered to be armed and dangerous. A woman who lives in Maine speaking out about last night's shooting and the effect it's had on her small and tight-knit state. Lissa King lives about 25 minutes from Lewiston. She tells KSL News Radio exclusively this experience is uncharted territory for Mainers.
Hard to sort of put into words what this has done to our community, and not to say that it's harder on us than it's been on everybody else or anybody else that has gone through this. It's purely devastating.
King says many Mainers don't even lock their doors. She thinks once they've absorbed the shock, they'll be able to get back to that point, but she says things in her state will never be the same again. The Wasatch County Planning Commission is recommending the County Council approve updated plans for a temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Heber. Some residents have raised concerns about the size of the building, the lighting, its impact on traffic and groundwater. The design has been adjusted several times to address those concerns. Arches National Park asking for public help on what has worked and what hasn't as they try to deal with growing crowds. Karen Garthwaite is the Arches Public Affairs Specialist.
Hey, we would love your feedback on the things that we've been trying, any other ideas that folks might also want to suggest.
People can submit comments at nps.gov until December 1st. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average having another down day, 268 points down right now, and the NASDAQ is down 270 points. Our KSL weather, we'll see the sun come out this afternoon, but it's going to stay cool. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
O'Reilly. It's See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Replace your worn-out wiper blades and get up to a $20 O'Reilly gift card after rebate when you purchase a pair of select wiper blades. See store for details. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by your O'Reilly Auto Parts store or O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure sells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems, like rotten wood, wood-borne insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Advertising used to be simple. Your options were radio, TV, newspaper, and let's not forget the yellow pages. Now it seems like a tidal wave of options. Podcast, cable TV, streaming, OTT, CTV, audio networks, smart speakers. On top of that, you need digital marketing for your website along with SEM, SEO, display, video, YouTube, email, and all the social media platforms. Look, you're the expert in your business. Wouldn't it be nice to have an expert to market you? We are Bonneville Salt Lake, the local marketing and media company you know and trust. We reach customers across all digital and social platforms and have the reach of traditional advertising available as well. We find your customer anytime, any place, anywhere on any device here in Utah or anywhere in the world. We work to optimize your results with our in-house local team of experts, providing you with qualified leads, not just impressions. Contact us at aimyourdigital.com for a free consultation, including a complete digital audit with no obligation or cost to you. We are Bonneville Salt Lake. Your success starts at aimyourdigital.com.
Fall in love with Five Alls Restaurant this autumn. A Salt Lake City original. Cozy atmosphere, perfect for all your special occasions. Now open Wednesdays too. Come dine at Five Alls.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio is your window to the outside world, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio, or listen on the KSL News Radio app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio, Utah's all-day companion for news.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Crews are wrapping up this crash eastbound I-80 between 13th and 7th East. It's at the top of the ramp over to the right shoulder. And they've just started opening up travel to the ramp from a crash in Utah County. It's the exit ramp northbound I-15 to go to westbound Pioneer Crossing in American Fork. We have restrictions in place for both Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons due to the weather. And then Highway 6 has had several problems today. Right now, both directions of Highway 6 and Spanish Fork Canyon closed for about a 10-mile stretch. And it's due to an accident about a mile east of Diamond Fork. And you need to just avoid this stretch if you can, take an alternate route. And for those who are traveling Highway 6 Spanish Fork Canyon, there are also delays traveling in Spanish Fork headed towards Thistle. But again, we're hoping that crews will have that cleaned up soon. They're giving us word that they're hoping to have the road completely opened shortly. Visit R5 Homes and tour the new Flex ADU affordable house with an independent yet connectable rental basement to help build up long-term wealth. Ask R5 Homes about your $1,000 bonus for purchase or referral. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, the rain will stop, the sun will come out this afternoon, but it'll stay cool with a high of only 50 degrees. 54, partly cloudy tomorrow, and there's a chance of rain again on Saturday. And right now, we're at 43 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I love talking to the KSL investigative team. Television does an incredible job really diving into stories that really affect you here in Utah. And I just saw a promotion from the KSL investigative team, something they're looking into. I think it airs tonight. They found a shocking number of sex offenders that were missing from the state registry, which I hate hearing because that's one that I actually go to. I like to look at. Joining us right now from the KSL investigative team, Daniela Rivera and Kara Fairmont. Okay, so walk us through the process. I know you're not going to give us all the details since the story is yet to be shown, but I want to talk about the process of what led you in this direction.
Yeah.
Danny?
So, yes, we want you to watch, so we're not going to give everything away. This is an investigation more than a year in the making. We were alerted that perhaps there were offenders not showing up on the registry back in 2022. We looked into that. We went to Department of Corrections. In a sense, kind of waved off. It's not a significant issue. But we kept coming across names we believed should be on the registry, and we're not.
Yeah, we got a second list put together that, we went one by one through thousands of names, looking into these people's history, seeing if they were on the registry or not. And what we found was more than 100 that were not on the registry that absolutely should have been on the registry.
So can you talk to me about just like what it means? I guess, how do I say? I don't necessarily need you to define the offenses, but my first thought maybe is, well, maybe these are names, do you know what I mean? Like of teenagers who did something naughty with their girlfriend and then like they're officially on the list, but not really people we should be scared of. Is that who we're talking about? It's not on this list?
It's not. A lot of these people are older with child sex offenses. The majority of them were lifetime registration requirements, which means that it was a more serious crime. Utah has 2 registration requirements, one that's 10 years long and one that's for life. And the majority of these names were lifetime.
So who's at fault here? Well, how is this happening?
I think the first thing you think of when you hear this is, oh, it's a sex offender who's skirting the registry. They're trying to, go under the radar and not fulfill their requirements under law. What we found is many of these folks were following the law and they were updating their registry information as they should have been, but the public didn't see it. And so that takes us to the Department of Corrections, which is tasked by law with registering folks and maintaining the registry.
That's insane. Or maybe it's not insane because everyone's so overworked. Does that make sense? So I'm wondering, when you get to the DOC, is the answer they're just understaffed? Like everywhere you go is understaffed. They're just under-resourced?
So that's definitely part of tonight's investigation, is looking into what exactly happened here. How did we fail? And what is the scope of the failure here? Because, we, for months and months, trying to go and independently track and verify all this information. It's not at our fingertips and in a convenient database like it is for folks at that level in the state who have access to that. And so it took us months and months, but we've only found what we've found, right? We don't know the full scope of this problem or how long it's been going on.
Okay, I think this speaks to truly the importance of what you do in the KSL investigative team, because, Kira, I can't imagine the spreadsheet you must have.
The spreadsheet.
That's exactly what we do have.
I love you.
And it's huge.
Spreadsheet.
It's huge.
You got to have a spreadsheet, right?
Yes.
It's color-coded.
Yes.
Is that what you
And it's the spreadsheet. For more than a year, it's been the spreadsheet. That's when we say that amongst each other, we know exactly which one we're talking about. Kira has done wonders with that thing.
Okay, but this takes, as you had just mentioned, you've been doing this for a year. Dave Noriega does not have the time to do this, or normal Utahns do not have the time to do this. We have to trust that when I go to the website, I'm going to see exactly what I need to see. In fact, every time you come in, I like to go to the sex offender registry if we're talking about this and look, okay, what's going on in my neighborhood? And I've never had anyone within miles. I just barely did it. And so help me, you two, I found somebody 3 doors down. I had no idea, absolutely no idea. But it speaks to the importance of having this updated, knowing who is in the community, because, I've got to find out what is going on, because I have no idea other than I know the name, I know who the person is, but I don't know what the offense is.
Right.
And
I just want to ask right here, because I don't look. So unlike Dave, I'm like, I don't want to know, because maybe I just don't want to know. So, but you were finding people in the neighborhoods, even if someone had, even if the list was curated not as well as your spreadsheet, but actually was something the public could see, that a lot of people are more like me than like Dave and are not checking. And then tell us why we should be.
Well, I'll tell you, at some point in this investigation, we left the spreadsheet and the computer screens and we went into neighborhoods. We went to homes to try to verify, are you a sex offender and should you be on the registry? And I remember, I'll tell you, it's featured in the story tonight in one Lehigh neighborhood. After doing that and finding that there was a sex offender who was not on the registry, I looked across the street and I see a woman unloading all these car seats, kiddo car seats from her car. And so I walked over there and I asked her, did you know? And just the look of shock and concern. And she was like, no, I didn't know. And so being the person having to tell some of these parents that, and I spoke to many who said, I did check the registry. Mm-hmm. They had checked it. They checked it before they moved to the neighborhood. And this woman in particular, more than 500 days was living across from someone who she didn't know was on the registry. And in Utah, according to our laws, parents, families, citizens have a right to know. And that's not to say, they're sure to reoffend, or, we're not trying to pick on this population that truly does face a lot of stigma in our community. But we have a registry because in Utah, leaders have said this is a measure that we're going to take to protect the public. We have told parents in Utah that we have accurate, timely information, and this is a public safety tool. So the tool should be accurate.
Yes, we legally have a right to know, and absolutely, I trust it, and I appreciate you looking into this and finding the discrepancies. We look forward. That's going to air tonight.
Absolutely.
10 o'clock. Make sure you tune in as the KSL investigative team finds that a shocking number of sex offenders are missing from the state registry. How it happened, what they're doing to fix it, coming up tonight on KSL Television.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
I know it's Thursday, but give me 60 seconds and I'll explain how spending $29 guarantees your furnace won't break down this winter, or we'll give you your money back. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and when you have Any Hour do the annual maintenance on your furnace, it comes with our no breakdown guarantee, 801-443-7400. Normally, we charge $124 to tune up your furnace, but not today. If you call today, Thursday, October 26th, and mention you heard this ad, you'll lock in a $95 savings and get your furnace tuned up for only $29. 801-443-7400. If your furnace breaks down anytime this winter after we tune it up, we'll dispatch a technician to your home to diagnose and troubleshoot your system for free. And we'll give you back the $29 you paid for the tune-up. Where else are you going to find an offer with this little risk? You literally get your money back if your furnace breaks down. Call Any Hour Services today and schedule your $29 furnace tune-up. 801-443-7400. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Hey, Derek Overstreet here from the New Millennium Group, financial advisors in Utah. You know, I've been helping people retire in the state of Utah for the last 20 years. The way we do that is we actually find out what is important to you. We create a step-by-step plan that takes into consideration your income, your debt, whether you want money from real estate, stock market, annuities, life insurance, whatever. If you want to deal with professionals, people that are fiduciaries and have a legal responsibility and obligation to do what's in your best interest, give my team a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Or go to my website, utahsfinancialplanner.com. If you'd like to retire 3 to 5 years before you thought it was possible, give my team a call right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Open Streets is back in downtown Salt Lake City and better than ever. You might think you know what to expect, but get ready to be surprised and delighted by this year's new improvements. Josh Jones with the Downtown Alliance joins us with more.
Derek, imagine an urban mini golf course, free yoga sessions, a silent disco, muralists, and lots of free concerts. All of it cascading down Main Street every Friday and Saturday this October. This Open Streets is actually a packed confetti cannon of fun, thanks to our Blocks team, who have curated talented artists and programmers from all across the valley. And the best part, it's entirely free. Each weekend has different activities and entertainment, so be sure to check out our website for what's happening this weekend. We hope the community will wander down to Main Streets without a ticket and explore and discover their city. There are more than 170 bars and restaurants downtown, and more than 30 on Main Street alone. Plus, some of the most unique shopping and retail outlets in the region. Main Street is the family room for our community. It is the place we gather to have fun, to see each other, to be neighbors. We hope to see you there.
Be sure to check out Open Streets in downtown Salt Lake City every Friday and Saturday, noon to 1 a.m. for the rest of the month, and discover the urban playground awaiting pedestrians. For more information, visit the Open Streets website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, authorities in Maine still searching for the suspect, Robert Card, thought to be the man who shot multiple people in Lewiston last night. Second, public comments are requested to find out what people think is and is not working to control the crowds at Arches National Park. And third, the Wasatch County Planning Commission giving a green light to plans for the new temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Heber. Right now, 43 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
College enrollment across the country has been slipping. Ever since COVID, we have seen in some places this decline of enrollment. And is it the cost of college? Is it the value of college? Is it the debt that you have to incur? Is it the degrees that are out there? What is happening in higher education? Well, I have no better expert than a higher educator, Leah Murray, filling in for Debbie Dujanovic. Oh, man, this has been a fast 3 hours. I love when you come because
we have fun.
This is great. It's a great 3 hours. You lead up the Walker Institute of Politics at Weber State University. You're also a host of KSL at Night. But how important is enrollment in colleges right now? Is this a conversation? Is it a concern? Or is this just a little bit of a goalie and a dip that we can kind of ignore?
No, I think it's a major concern, right? So we talked earlier about the influencer degree, do you know what I mean? And we had a conversation about gaming as a degree. And one of the things you said in there was like, as a parent, I'm not really sure college is worth it, right? You were like, what? Yeah. A little bit I'm questioning. I've got a big eye roll. You said your retina detached, right? As you eye rolled about it. So it is absolutely an issue in this country that a lot of people think a college degree is not worth it. And I'm going to quote a number that I tried to find that I was absolutely sure. So don't quote me on this because I'm saying it here live on radio.
Quote and qualify. There we go.
Yeah, I'm going to qualify. I'm qualifying it. But like the state of Utah is 7th in the nation for Google searches. Is a college degree worth it? Right. So what that means is, there are people who are thinking what their future career is going to be, what the pathway, what they want to do, and what they're considering. I'm just going to tell you, for me, there was no consideration. Like you graduated high school, you went to college, right? And then
the expectation.
That was the expectation. And right now, a lot of people, that doesn't seem as obvious a choice, right? And so the question of who comes to campuses, it matters because if we don't have students, a little bit, A, what are we doing? But B, we talk about budgets, right? All of our budgets are funded by how many students we have in a classroom. So it matters to us to make sure that we have students there. And then kind of philosophically, it matters to me because I think everyone should have a college degree. Mm-hmm. But that's because I like it.
Yeah, this is... It's like me saying, I think everyone should listen to the radio.
That's right.
It does feel a little bit, self-serving,
maybe. I know,
no hard feelings.
But pause right there, right? Like what we know about COVID, I'll just use COVID as an example. People who have college degrees weren't as affected by it, right? They were kind of COVID, they were a little held harmless by the effects of COVID, whereas people without college degrees, life expectancy went down, right? Like there are absolutely, it's not just that I'm self-interested, but I can see at the macro level, there are advantages to our society when we have college educated people. So I just want like every human in Utah to have a degree.
I will say this, 1,000% I love education. I don't always love schooling. And I feel sometimes when I'm going to college that I'm getting schooled, that I'm checking a box. I'm highly interested in learning. I love it. I love being educated. I can get frustrated sometimes, and I'm seeing it with my kids even in elementary, junior high, and high school, where they're getting schooled, but they're really not learning. They're checking boxes, they're cheating their ways even through some of these things. That's an epidemic conversation for another day. Love education, schooling a little less so. But here's an article, a headline from the Deseret News that I loved. Does a winning football team boost college enrollment? And I thought, so help me, if that's what's tied together, like University of Utah, a great football team, top 10, is that actually going to boost enrollment?
And the answer is yes.
It's shocking.
Really, are you shocked by this? So what I loved about this article, we're looking at the same one, is it talked about the Flutie effect, and you are a sports person, so you tell us, who is Doug Flutie?
He's known a quarterback for Boston College, had this famous Hail Mary pass to win the game, and ended up being a great college football player, but kind of put Boston College on the map.
On the map. And the next year, their enrollment applications increased 30%. Okay? So let me just pick a little bit on Weber State. So I'll just say this. I watch
and Boston College is an accomplished University, right?
But it wasn't on the map until Doug Flutie threw that football.
Wow.
And I love how you just said that. It's not Harvard, right? But it's Boston College. It's pretty exclusive. So people see it. That's a school. And then even smart kids who would tell you, I'm not interested in football at all. I didn't go to college for sports. Apply. Right. So the brand name of the school gets increased if they have a winning football program. So I'll just pick on this a little bit with Weber State. I watch NFL on the weekends. Like, that's what I do. Sit there watching football. And I was watching the Sunday night football game, and I can't remember which team it was, so don't ask me. But they go through, so I'm Doug Kelsey and I'm blah, blah, and I'm Travis Kelsey, blah, right? And they say where they went. And one of the players went to Weber State. So he says his name, Weber State University. And what I know is all across the country, people go, oh, there's Weber State. And I'm picking on football. I could pick on basketball. The only school I knew that existed in this state, was Weber State University, because they beat North Carolina in the NCAA one year, and I was surprised. And then you go, who is that school? So the sports programs build a national reputation, and that increases enrollment. Like, everyone in the state of Utah knows where the U is or who the Y is.
Yeah.
But it's when they start beating USC, right, that like people around the world go, oh, that's a school. Let me check that out.
Okay, so the cost, this is something I'm very familiar with, having worked in sports for 13 years at KSL. The cost of sports is enormous. It is tens of millions of dollars here in the state. The University of Utah's budget, tens of millions of dollars. Now, they bring in tens of millions of dollars as well, but it's one thing if you're the University of Utah and BYU who have long, historic, storied football programs. But if we're being completely honest, if you're not making money in football, which most schools do not make more money than they spend on athletics. Football will fund everything else, every other sport in a college, because it's just that popular. Basketball a little bit if you have a successful basketball program. But I wonder, the amount of money that it costs to run a football, basketball program, softball, track, all these things, if you were to take that money and just turn it into marketing and outreach and spend tens of millions of dollars as a school, couldn't you accomplish the same thing?
I don't think so, because it's about goodwill. And you and I are both sports fans. Does that make sense? So there is something about, I don't know, like the visceral reaction you have, right, for a team.
It's true.
That is not the same thing. Because my kid is a junior in high school, and she's getting all the cute little things from the schools, right? Because, and, the University of Oregon sends her a little thing, and I'm like, no.
We don't do Oregon in this family.
That no amount of marketing, right, can get past that kind of visceral response.
So the fact is, football teams, if you have a good football team especially, they do boost college enrollment. Leah Murray, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Debbie and I will be back next week. We'll turn things over to Maria Chaleos and the KSL News team.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.